In the small town of Ravenswood, a family-owned mortuary had been serving the community for generations. The Tilden family, consisting of the experienced and renowned father Tommy and his eager young son, Austin, took pride in their meticulous work. It was a quiet evening when a mysterious and chilling event shook the town. Late one night, the local sheriff, Sheriff Barnes, brought a body to the Tilden mortuary, asking for an expedited autopsy due to the peculiar circumstances surrounding the death. The victim was found half-buried in the basement of an old, abandoned house. Despite being in pristine condition on the outside, the corpse was an enigma. No identification, cause of death, or any visible signs of trauma could be determined. Tommy and Austin, intrigued by the case, decided to take it upon themselves to unravel the mystery behind the woman they came to call Jane Doe. Little did they know that this decision would lead them down a dark and twisted path, testing their skills and beliefs. As they began the autopsy, the eerie atmosphere inside the mortuary intensified. A sudden storm brewed outside, casting flickering shadows on the walls, giving life to their worst nightmares. The radio played unsettlingly creepy tunes, adding to the tense ambiance. As the father-son duo meticulously examined Jane Doe's body, they discovered bizarre internal injuries that contradicted the unblemished exterior. Her organs showed signs of suffering with signs of burns and trauma. But how could this be? There was no evidence of harm from the outside. As they delved deeper into the autopsy, they uncovered even more unsettling surprises. Her lungs appeared charred, as if she had inhaled smoke from a massive fire. Her wrists showed signs of being bound, her heart unnaturally enlarged, as though she had endured intense fear, and her tongue had been severed at the base. Yet no visible incisions were found. Tommy and Austin struggled to explain the inexplicable. Their medical knowledge and experience seemed useless in this bewildering case. As they discussed their findings, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Their nerves were on edge, and the mortuary's creaks and groans only added to the growing sense of dread. Soon, strange events began to occur in the mortuary. Tools moved on their own, shadows darted across the corners of their vision, and the radio played unsettling messages that seemed to be directed at them. But the most chilling revelation came when they found an old document hidden within Jane Doe's body. A page from a sinister grimoire containing dark spells and rituals. As they researched the origins of the grimoire, they stumbled upon a disturbing legend of a witch executed centuries ago. This witch, rumored to have gained immortality by transferring her consciousness into the bodies of others, would torment her victims before eventually moving on to a new host. The similarities between the witch's legend and Jane Doe's condition left them chilled to the bone. The supernatural occurrences escalated, and the Tilden family found themselves trapped in a terrifying nightmare. Tommy, the logical and skeptical father, was forced to confront his disbelief in the paranormal, while Austin, the open-minded and curious son, tried to find rational explanations for the unexplainable. In a desperate attempt to understand and contain the malevolent force within Jane Doe, they sought help from a local psychic, Mrs. Warren. Mrs. Warren sensed a powerful presence within the mortuary, warning the Tildens that they were dealing with something ancient and vengeful. As the three of them performed a ritual to communicate with the entity possessing Jane Doe's body, they inadvertently unleashed a malevolent force that consumed the mortuary in chaos. The entity toyed with their minds, dredging up their darkest fears and secrets, exploiting their weaknesses. In a final showdown against the supernatural entity, Tommy, Austin, and Mrs. Warren fought for their lives and the safety of their town. They learned that the only way to defeat the malevolent force was to find the witch's original body, buried in a hidden grave far beyond the town's outskirts. Risking everything, they journeyed to the witch's resting place, guided by the spirit of Jane Doe, who sought liberation from the torment she had endured. The grave was in an ancient, desolate forest where malevolent energy permeated the air. In a heart-pounding climax, they confronted the witch's remains and conducted a daring ritual to banish the entity from Jane Doe's body. The forces of good and evil clashed, and the fate of the Tilden family and the town of Ravenswood hung in the balance. Through courage, love, and sacrifice, they managed to seal the malevolent entity back into its dark slumber. Jane Doe's lifeless body lay at rest. Finally, a storm that had been raging throughout the night ceased, and the mortuary became still once more. The Tilden family returned to their routine, knowing that some mysteries were best left untouched. They continued their work, but with newfound respect for the unknown and a bond that transcended their shared experiences. The autopsy of Jane Doe had ended, but the haunting memories of that fateful night would forever linger in the Tilden family's hearts and minds. And so they carried on, as guardians of the dead and protectors of the living, prepared for whatever the future might bring in the enigmatic world they inhabited.